What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rants, no hate. So now I want to address a question that was asked. I think it was a damn good question. It was a simple question, but it was a damn good question because it's something that a lot of people seem to not pay attention to when they're having conversations. You hear them say things and they don't allude to this point. I was asked, why do you think that Anthony Joshua is not as popular in the States as he is in the UK and other countries? It's not just an Anthony Joshua thing, but Anthony Joshua is more popular. He's becoming more popular as well. Um, from a point where people first was making this, uh, when people were first making this point, trying to say that he's not popular, you had idiots talking about Deontay Wilder could go in the UK and sell out a building without Anthony Joshua and all this. He could. What was I mean, just stupid stuff that people were saying, and you know who these idiots are. But here's what happens, and people gotta understand this. Boxing is a thing, okay, that in America, that's where the big money is. And he's not from America. That right there should not be a reason for him to not be as popular. Now, if you base on what you see, basing on what you see the fighter do versus where they're from, I mean, everybody's different. I mean, people are going to do it regardless. Um, I give you an example. I saw a post where people were debating about who's better between Teofimo Lopez and Javante Tank Davis, and someone made a comment said that popularity wise it's 50-50 between the two of them. So if they fight, it should be a 50-50 split. And a lot of people were saying, yeah, 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 yeah. And a lot of people were like, oh, hell no. Now, let me just show you something. There was a post put up about who should Terrence Crawford fight at 135, because that's the rumors that he's going to fight somebody at 135. Who should it be? And they had like Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia, Teofimo Lopez, Lomachenko. They had names like that there. By far, Tank Davis won. And people don't get that when you say Tank Davis is more popular than other fighters at his weight class and other fighters. Period. People don't get that. They think like no, simply because it's like this, right? If you're from Mexico and let's say there's a fighter in Mexico that when he shows up, the streets are filled, everybody's going crazy, right? They don't understand. That is in Mexico. That same fighter couldn't go to like Chile and get the same, couldn't go to Africa, couldn't go to different places and get the same. Now, I'm not saying Tank could too, but there's certain fighters like Muhammad Ali is by far the most popular fighter to ever have lived. That guy was, I mean, everybody knew who Ali was, okay? But in the States, okay, and this is what I'm saying. So outside of Mexico, when you come to the States, where fights are big and the big money's happening, that same fighter, let's say if he have, because there's a lot of Mexicans that live in America. So let's say that you're in areas where it's populated with Mexican people. The perception you have is that this guy is super popular. But then you notice when this guy fights, the building is half empty, or when he fights in the States, nobody's really talking about this guy. This is that reason, because in America, he's not a big deal. Now, as he starts to, because let's say you got like a lot of guys who have like 40 something fights. By the time they're seen on American TV, the guy's already like 45-2. Nobody knows who this guy is. How does a guy 45-2 fight on an undercard, right? How does a guy with 45-2 fight and the building's half empty? Nobody's paying attention to this guy because the popularity in America is not there. Okay, now let's say if Tank Davis went to go fight somebody in New Mexico and got booed, you think that he's not popular because they're booing him? No, they're booing him because they're cheering for the hometown guy. They're cheering for their countrymen. That's what that is. That has nothing to do with him not being popular. Now let's just say he went over there and they had a line of the car in Mexico, and he fought against another American fighter. Just say, for example, right, or someone who's not from Mexico. Now, he may get booed, he may get cheered. Who knows? He might get cheered because of who he is. He might get booed because he's competition his competition to somebody else from Mexico in that division. Who knows? But in terms of marketing and how much like viewers you get, like look at Lomachenko and Usyk for example. Lomachenko, people in America make a huge deal about Lomachenko. Mostly like fight promoters, you know, media guys, spectators, they all stand around and they're Lomachenko, Lomachenko. Lomachenko's a solid fighter. Now check this out. Teofimo Lopez beat him. Do you think that automatically gives him the same popularity? Do you think that that means because Teofimo Lopez beat Lomachenko that he automatically gets that whole he's the new? No, you just beat Lomachenko. Lomachenko is one guy. It's just like Buster Douglas beating Mike Tyson, right? People who are heavily into boxing, they know who these guys are, whether they're good or okay or whatever. But nobody really wanted, nobody wanted that fight in America. The networks wouldn't buy. They didn't want that fight. They didn't believe in it. Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas. They like of all people, Buster Douglas. That's why the fight was in Japan. You understand what I'm saying? And Mike Tyson being Mike Tyson, yeah, it's like the Japanese people get to see Mike Tyson, so they're like, oh, Mike Tyson. But no, and Mike was popular, so his opponent, okay, you need to have a certain person like for Teofimo Lopez, if he was fighting any other fighter other than the Tank Davis or maybe like a Ryan Garcia, another top guy on his own initiative, just fighting. No, he's not a huge draw. No, he's not. He had he shared the ring with Lomachenko, so that fight itself was big because there's more interest in. Look, there's more interest in the fact that Lomachenko was fighting. Okay, people thought that hey, Lomachenko is going to beat this guy just like does everybody else. So it was like more shock value, like, oh shit, this guy actually beat Lomachenko, man. Like, what? So now with Teofimo Lopez, he's in a position of, for those who ride with you, they're going to ride with you. For those who don't ride with you, that want to see you lose, it depends on who these people are. Because let's be real, if they don't believe in your name, they don't believe in your brand, because you are a brand. If they don't believe in your brand, they will shoot it down. They will try to make you look like, he's a nobody. Oh, he got lucky. Oh, Lomachenko was old. Any excuse to not give you your just due. It depends on what you do next, and then next, and then next. It's always, what have you done for me lately? It's never what you've done, and okay, let's just sit on that. No, you can't. So, him not being from America, that's one. And then, two, people are not going to push for Anthony Joshua like they would an American fighter. So then when you say, yeah, but Lomachenko's not, that's a great point. You're right. But there's something in Lomachenko that they see that they feel like, hey, this guy's special. Let's and they push for him. Now, ever since he's lost to Teofimo Lopez, let's see if that push continues. Okay, now, do we think that they're going to push Teofimo Lopez the same exact way? I doubt that very seriously. I doubt very seriously. I'm not saying that they're not going to speak highly of his ability, but as far as making a great big deal out of him like they've done, nah. The only way I see that happening for Teofimo Lopez is if he was to actually beat Tank Davis, then beat Ryan Garcia, beat Luke Campbell, beat all these guys that's there, and it's like shit, he's the man. Look at Manny Pacquiao. He's not from America. You had more Americans wanting to see him beat Floyd Mayweather than you had Americans wanting to see Floyd beat Pacquiao. And it was crazy because it was like, and for me, I don't like to get caught up into this race war shit, man. But like, what I find really crazy, and this is why the people like Jim Lampley and Max Kellerman, this is why these guys are under fire, man. Because and let me say this, because okay, in America, for people who are aware, it's racist here, and it's I can't really say, it's mostly the older people versus the older people who pass that shit down to and that's just how it always goes. But what happens is this: Floyd Mayweather is an American. Okay, you don't have to say black American, white American. He's an American. He didn't have the support of Americans. And then when people say things like, "Oh, but it's different because he's arrogant and he's cocky," yeah, so is Conor McGregor, but y'all love him. You understand? And he's far worse than Floyd with the stuff that he does. What Floyd does is his own personal shit, and then allegations stuff that we've heard, and domestic stuff. That's stuff that we don't even know if it's true, and that's like the media. If Floyd Mayweather worked at Burger King, nobody would give a shit. They wouldn't care. At the end of the day, we've seen people like Conor McGregor. Let's be real, okay? Um, what is he smacking the old guy? Punched the old guy in the face for saying something bad about his whiskey or wouldn't drink his whiskey or something like that. Throwing the shit through the window of the bus with all this craziness. But oh, that's yeah, that's Connor. See, that's how it's looked at, and this is where the racial tension starts to come in too, because it's like, wait, wait, wait. So you don't support Floyd because he's cocky and arrogant, but you support Connor, who's not an American, who's cocky, arrogant, and a troublemaker. You see, so these type of things, that's what happens. What's this other guy? I just did a video not too long ago. The guy that was calling Michael Jai White a punk bitch and all that, and you know who I'm talking about. This guy, same thing about it, Mike Perry. Mike Perry that's just Mike Perry. This is exactly the point. What I'm saying. Certain people get a nod, while others don't, because Mike Perry, let's be real, punching old men in the face, and this is on camera. This is no hearsay. We saw it on camera, punching, beating. He's always attacking old people. He's always like just like he feels like when he gets upset, I can put my hands on anybody. But it's always somebody old and defenseless. And he's always talking, 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 right? So how do you bypass anything that Michael Perry says and does, but then people actually hate Michael Jai White for simply saying he could beat Bruce Lee? So think about what I'm saying. It's one of these. Look, and let's be real. We know a lot of things are racially driven. We know a lot of things is just bias and dislike, whatever. But at the same time, there's a lot of shit that people don't understand. You know, Pacquiao, for example, right? When he was fighting Floyd Mayweather, what they should have just kept this thing as is, look, let's just fight. Floyd wanted him to take the same, you know, take the same blood test. He's going to take urine samples, all that shit, blood, whatever. They're going to all do it. Let's take the blood. Let's do it now, right? And he didn't want to do it. Now, we know that people would have been, if Floyd would have been turning it down, they'd have been saying Floyd must have something to hide, right? We know that. But they gave Pacquiao a pass. And when Pacquiao took a shot at Floyd, I don't know if people really paid attention to that. He said he don't like Floyd, and he alluded to he beat up on his woman. And first off, and his kids was there and all this stuff. He made this personal by saying that. But Manny Pacquiao committed adultery behind Jinky's back, which went public, which you never heard me speak about it because I don't care to speak about those things. But I'm making this as an example now to say this is my thing. You're supposed to be a holy man on top of that, right? And you commit adultery. Well, so why isn't he under fire for that? We don't even know exactly what happened. Let me give you on with Floyd and his ex, and which but everybody want to get in somebody's personal business. Sugar Ray Robinson was said to have been beaten up on his woman, but everybody loves Sugar Ray Robinson. Red Fox, the comedian, was said to be he beat up on his woman. But everybody love Red Fox. So it's certain people get a pass and others don't. Look at Mike Tyson's life. Mike Tyson sit here right now and admit the things that he used to do, but everybody loves Mike Tyson. So it is what it is. And then too, with success, you got to understand. When somebody is successful and they're doing a lot of shit, making a lot of things happen for them, any little thing, we seen Michael Jackson to the point he could do no wrong. Then all of a sudden now everybody, oh, Mike is a molester. Mike is this and that. Mike went to his grave with people saying that he was a child molester, and then all of a sudden came out and admitted that he didn't really do it. They told their kids to say it. Now think of all the people that went public and crucified Michael Jackson. Did these people apologize to Michael Jackson's family? He's no longer here to hear, but did they apologize just to say, Mike, I'm so sorry. I thought that it was true, but it wasn't. And nothing. Did they reach out to his kids? See, they reach out when they want an interview, right? Did they reach out to his kids to say no? They tried to, well, yeah, but well, even if it was, why would he do this and this and but this? They just can't say I was wrong. There's a comedian named Cat Williams who was constantly talking about Michael Jackson and his stands up and talk about Mike did it, and when the truth came out, same thing. He tried to joke it off and say he said something to the effect of like, I have never apologized for nothing that I've said and did. So why start now? Because he knew the crowd would laugh, and then let's get off of that and go on. Like basically, no, people don't like to say, "Hey, man, I was wrong." They don't want to see things for what it is. So there's other there's listen this it could be look. There's several reasons why things happen. I can't tell you exactly every situation and what the elements are because people can speak for themselves. But let me say this too, okay? And this is where people gotta. There was a chick at one point tried to pull some rape crap with me, but I had people that was around that knew the truth. Like, no, hell no, she's lying. If not for those people, I could be sitting up in jail right now for something that I never did, simply because I was accused of something. And here's the deal, right? If you deal with a judge who's about right and wrong, police officers, whoever, everybody, okay, attorneys, everybody, it has to be something there, right? If the truth is there, if honor and dignity is there, and the truth comes out, the fact is nobody wants to have to go through all of that nonsense, okay? And fighting for your innocence when you know you're innocent, you know? But if you deal with like racist people or hateful, spiteful people, you never know what's in a person. Some people, they actually get a kick out of sentencing somebody for life or giving somebody years in prison for something. They don't care. You have people that's like that. So we don't think because of a person's job title, because they hold a certain title, that these people won't do certain things or they above that. No. You know what I'm saying? And I just happen to be fortunate that the people was not only that they did they witness, but they spoke up because a lot of people would sit back just to see what happens. They was like, no, hell no, he didn't do any of that. And I had proof of where I was, the time I was there, and all of that. But and this was simply because a female who basically liked me and I didn't pay her any attention and had no interest in her, and then basically so because she didn't get her way, pull his rape crap. And I was, it's bottom line is it was bull, and the truth came out immediately, fortunately. But imagine, okay, now imagine me telling you this story right now. But imagine there's no Aries Zodiac channel. You never even heard of Zodiac, Aries Zodiac. But here's a guy not known to the world sitting in jail doing time for something he didn't do. That, I mean, this happens. So, when fighters don't get that died like that, athletes in general, but boxing is a sport where like America, look, when Americans was dominating boxing in the heavyweight division particularly, everybody knew who these fighters was over here. Things change. Like I said, if you go all the way back to Lennox Lewis, that's really when, and Vladimir Klitschko, that's when you started to notice the heavyweight division dying as far as even American stars. And basically, people started to lose more interest after that. And when Lewis fought Klitschko, people really wanted to see the rematch because a lot of people felt like Klitschko won the fight, was winning the fight, and they were saying, nah, in the rematch, that guy would beat Lennox Lewis. Now, here's my thing. They hated Lennox Lewis so much because why? He beat Holyfield. He beat Mike Tyson. He was dominating. He avenged both losses that he had. He was the man. So now, he's not American, but neither is Klitschko. So why do you want to see Lennox Lewis get beat up so bad? But this is just people. Now, was it racially driven? Hell yeah, a lot of that shit was racially driven. There's a lot of Americans like to tell him, man, get off of that bullshit. You don't like Lennox Lewis as a fighter simply because he's not American. That's all that bullshit is. Reality is, there's certain things that just won't die. And if it does, it's going to take a long time. Unfortunately, that's life. But yeah, I mean, Anthony Joshua, unified world champion. And when you ask people who's the world champ right now, and nobody knows, it's because they don't watch boxing. Now, for those who, let's just say for those who don't like Anthony Joshua, but they know who he is, right? They don't want to see Anthony Joshua win. They want to see anybody beat Anthony Joshua. They don't care who it is. That's anybody. You have a lot of people that just think like that. I said before, the only American heavyweight that anybody even knows anything about on a broader scope is Deontay Wilder. Nobody talks about Michael Hunter or any other. Look, we had a fighter over here, um, Amir Mansour. Never got the fight on the big stage. In fact, he fought Dominic Brazil. If you guys remember this fight, Dominic Brazil he hit him and Amir Mansour like damn near bit his whole tongue off and was bleeding. They had to stop the fight. He had to get his tongue stitched back on, right? If Amir Mansour would have won that fight, Amir Mansour would have fought Anthony Joshua. That's how Dominic Brazil got the fight against AJ. Okay, and remember AJ was still on the come up then, but he was already a popular prospect coming up in the UK. So he would have got that fight. So Amir Mansour never got that nod. But my point is, only like people who are really into boxing that really follow they no other than nobody who knew who Amir Mansour was. So what I'm saying, when you hear people saying Shannon Briggs is the last world heavyweight champion, how many people talks about Shannon Briggs? If we do, it's like in a joking fashion. Let's go, champ. They always, but as a fighter, nobody's talking about Shannon Briggs. Shannon Briggs keeps himself relevant, constantly keeping his face in social media and things like that. But as a fighter, nobody's talking about Shannon Briggs. So even this fight that just happened with Mike Tyson and Roy Jones, like Shannon Briggs, I saw the headline where he said, "I want war. I don't want no exhibition. I want war." Look, do you hear anybody talking about that? And even though the majority of people was tuning in just to see how fast Mike was going to destroy Roy, because that's what everybody was thinking, they tuned in. That pay-per-view, as far as I don't know the final number, but 1 million pay-per-view buys, right? So think about it. Nobody's talking about Shannon Briggs. Now, maybe if Mike Tyson comes out and the two of them come out and say that they're going to actually finally fight, okay, but after what they just saw with Roy Jones and Mike Tyson, it's not going to be the same. One, even though Shannon Briggs is a natural heavyweight, his name still, Roy Jones is a bigger name than Shannon Briggs by far. Two, after what people saw and how they were so disappointed, now diehard Mike Tyson fans would probably tune in, okay? But at the same time, they're not tuning in because they think it's going to be a great fight. It's just because of Mike Tyson. And maybe they put something else on the card. That's why I said diehard Mike Tyson fans. But at the same time, look, think about this, right? Logan Paul, like these guys, him and his brother, they got more subscribers on their YouTube channel than actual pro fighters, right? And they headlined a fight. It was KSI and one of them, was it Jake Paul or Logan Paul? One of them, I can't remember which one. He fought one of them. They headlined over Devin Haney. Okay, that was the main event over Devin Haney. I forgot who Devin Haney fought, but that was the main event over actual pro fighters. If you're a pro fighter, on top of that, you are a champion, okay, and you have like 185,000 subscribers. Then you take a guy who's not even an actual boxer, who starts learning how to box a little and start getting in the gym and start making a name for himself, and then all of a sudden this dude has like 2.5 million or 3.2 million subscribers and you don't. What does that tell you? So even like with the Floyd Mayweather situation, why do you think this is happening? This dude is popular, man. I mean, this is all because of Corona, the empty building, or maybe they might have a few people, like 1,000 people, like AJ did. Who knows, right? If when him and Floyd do it, but understand something, okay? When that guy came out to the ring against KSI, whether it was him or his brother, I don't remember which one it was, but the crowd was going crazy for these guys, man. And I said to myself, God damn, where's that energy at for the pros, man? Like they were really, into this. So think about it. If this is another huge mega payday type thing, do you think Floyd's going to pass up on that? Do you think this guy Paul is going to pass up on that? Of course not. So that don't mean I'm interested in that shit, but I understand it's business. Okay, it's just like somebody retired and then somebody say, "Hey, listen, man, let's just cut you a deal. You was making $50,000 a year, right? Okay, we promise we'll put this in writing for you. Come back, man. Give us a year of your time. We'll pay you 100 grand a year." You know how many motherfuckers would come out of retirement? Because people are coming out of retirement for the same money or less than what they was making before they retired. So you know how many people would come out of retirement? Shit, that's 50,000 goddamn dollars more. Shit, for a year. Okay, you know what? Cool. Hell yeah. Yeah, they'll come back out. Now, if somebody care about their health more and it's wise to not do it, hey, yeah, you done spent your whole youth. Now you getting up there in age. Yeah, hell yeah, enjoy your life, right? Think about it. At the end of the day, when you start thinking about business moves that people make, you got to understand that they're business moves. You're watching it as a fan. This is somebody's life. They're like, nah, man, I want this bread, man. Especially look at what's happening with COVID right now. People are not making the money that they was making before. They're sitting up doing nothing. So people are affected. I mean, I was in the mall today and I looked up at the movie section. This mall, has a movie theater. And I looked up and they were playing like Back to the Future, Gremlins. Like back in the day, how they used to play old movies and people would go to the theaters to sit and watch. They saying already, but it was something about watching it again on the big screen, and they stopped doing all of that. But because of COVID, they're doing this again. History repeating itself. So now they're putting all this old stuff. I'm waiting for them to start putting like those old Shaolin kung fu movies back in the flicks. Yeah, I'll if I don't have it already, yeah, I'll be there. Because I got a lot of movies, a lot of stuff. But at the end of the day, it's like that. That is one of the reasons that he's not American. And American. I don't know what it is, but it's like when it comes to Americans, they have a problem with British fighters. I don't know what the fuck it is. It's not something that just happened either. I don't know what it is, man. But and it's just it's stupid. And I'll tell anybody, Britain's people from Britain shouldn't have a problem with American fighters. American fighters should have a problem with fighters from Britain, from Puerto Rico, from Brazil, vice versa. All that for what? Just acknowledge the talent, man, and be glad that people are contributing to the sport that you claim you love. That's how I see it. But people just feel like you gotta draw the line and pick sides, and it's one thing even to do things out of fun, but when it becomes a thing of hate, when your true colors come out and it shows you're full of hate and envy, and I mean, look, people think like when we speak about Deontay Wilder's flaws, right? They think we hate Deontay Wilder. Now, speaking for me, I can't speak for nobody else. I don't know the guy, so I can't say I hate that brother. I don't know him. What I speak on is about what I see. I don't like the stuff that he be doing, stuff that he say that makes no goddamn sense. When you clearly catch him lying, when you clearly catch him saying something hypocritical, right? And people like act like he didn't say it and just overlook it. Nah, well, anyway, because that one said, remember, no, AJ lying, because remember, no, no. First off, think about this. Let's take a sport that's American dominated, American football. Do you choose a team based on skin color, or do you choose a team because either they're from your hometown or it's just a team you just happen to like? Because there's no rule that says if you're New York, you can't like the Philadelphia Eagles. There's no rule that says I have to cheer for a fighter because he's from the same town as me or the same exact race as me. But what I am saying is, excuse me, ethnicity, because there's only one race that I know of that's human. But what I'm saying is, people narrow these things down in certain situations. Because if you sit, okay, example, right? The same people who sit up and say, oh man, we should be cheering for Deontay Wilder, man. Deontay Wilder's a black American, are the same dudes that sit up and say Eminem is the greatest rapper of all times. Right? Okay. No Rakim, no Big Daddy Kane, no KRS-One, no G-Rap, no Run DMC, no Wu-Tang Clan. Right? Just Eminem. Okay? At the same time, this is part of what I mean about this, the ignorance of racism and stupid, just biased, dumb shit. If you're basing that on Eminem's skill and you think that Eminem is just that good, okay, whatever. but it becomes a popular thing to say. Why? I guarantee you, if a lot of this shit Eminem, if Nas was saying that shit, or Rock, people would be like, yo, what the fuck are they talking about? Putting a baby's mother in garbage disposals and shit and bunch of crazy, goofy shit and stuff like that. It's like one of those things where whatever is the popular thing to say, that's what people do. Just like when somebody can jump from the foul line and stick their tongue out and slam dunk a ball. Who's the first person they start to compare it to? They have no championship wins, no championship rings, nothing, but yet they're comparing them to who? Of course, Michael Jordan. So at the end of the day, you got to look and think like, yeah, this is why these things happen. But that's why I said, see, we trying to break the racism. We trying to break that stereotypical bullshit. We trying to break all of that. We don't allow any of that. But that's some of the reasons. Okay, and for whatever other reasons they may be, they can't say, oh well, AJ's not a drug. Bullshit. 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 He came over here to fight Andy Ruiz. That building was packed with AJ supporters, man. Hey, shit just didn't go the way, he wanted to go that night. But where's the Andy Ruiz followers? Where was all these other guys? Where's these people for Jarrell Miller? No, man, these guys are not popular like that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, like I was saying earlier, no, we respect boxing. We respect people who respect the craft, right? Deontay don't seem to have that respect for boxing. He seemed like he talked about, I got the power. He's out of his own mouth. So it's like, no, he's not the first guy. There's many fighters who I don't care for them as fighters. Don't matter where they from. So it's not like we chose to pick on Deontay. No, we just don't feel him as a fighter. That doesn't mean we hate him. And I'm only speaking for me. He says a lot of crazy shit, man. Like when he said, I want to experience having a baby. Why? The fuck would you want to experience having a baby? You're not meant to have a baby. That will never ever happen, bro. Why would you even think like that? That would be like your woman saying, I wish I had a dick so I could fuck you. You'd be like, what? Do you understand what I'm saying? That's not what that is. You're not, you don't have a dick for a reason, okay? You can't have a baby for a reason. So the fact that he was even thinking like that, I'm like, okay. You want to have a baby. You love twerking your ass. You're very emotional. I mean, I'm just saying. Anyway, look, y'all. I got some more videos that I got, and I want to upload them and get back on here with y'all. I have about 3 right now. Tomorrow I show you. Maybe. Cool Brat Pulev got me with that shit. Look, y'all, never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people. And tomorrow, I show you. Look, y'all, that's all I'm going to say in this video. Catch y'all on the next one.